Yeah, these moves on the margin don't always work, but what does seem to always work is if they make that big sort of splash. Jeremy Cameron, obviously a massive win, and Patrick Dangerfield is one of the great recruiting stories in sort of modern football history.
Yep.
And you're on to Patrick Dangerfield. He's out of contract still at the moment, still on that delisted free agency list with nobody else. What's going on with him, Ralphie?
So when you play at Geelong, it's a bit like doing an arts degree. You've got about 12 contact hours, so why would you want to give up? I'd be there till I was 30. So Paddy Dangerfield is cheeky. He hasn't played 20 games since 2020, given a hamstring and calves. He wants a 2-year deal, and he's going to get it. So right now, the club and his manager just wait until he gets through the season unscathed. Of course, he missed those 8 games with the hamstring issues earlier in the year. When you Taylor Duray, you get 8 one-year deals at the back end of your career. But I think the fact is that, Geelong have probably squeezed some players in that last year of their contract. So you get him a 2-year deal. I'm not sure what the finances are. He's played for less all the way through his career at Geelong, but you guarantee that, Moggs Creek Retirement Fund, he'll get his 2-year deal, and, when are they ever going to stop just contending for the premiership?
He's still playing brilliant footy.
Yeah.
Like, he's still, on his day, one of the best players in the competition. So I think a 2-year deal, I don't see a lot of risk in that. They've been managing his body well, so I sort of feel like he's been holding out for the 2-year deal and deserves it. He is the superstar captain.
Yep.
The selection squeeze at Geelong is on Barnesy. So Sam De Koning is available. Do you think he will play in the preliminary final?
I think this is the question for Geelong all week. There's been a lot of talk about Tom Hawkins and Cam Guthrie.
Yep.
We can put a line through those two. They're not going to be playing.
So 100% not playing.
They're not going to be lining up on Saturday. I think
Story in the Herald Sun tomorrow.
We get to the grand final. It might be a chance, but I don't think this week. Tom Stewart will come in unless there's another mystery illness. Otherwise, then Sam De Koning is the one that's on the borderline. And it's a fascinating discussion with him and whether he plays. Geelong did everything right in that qualifying final without him in the team. Mark Blicavs has played at centre-half back without Sam De Koning in the past month or so. He played ruck in the VFL. I think if they bring him back in, Jay, he has to play in defence, would be my move. Reece Stanley's doing the job at the moment. The question is if you need him to take down Joe Daniher. He's the big threat from Brisbane Lions at the moment. He's played him 3 times in the last 3 years, and you can see the numbers here. Joe Daniher has kicked 1 goal in 237 minutes opposed to Sam De Koning.
They have to play him. They have to play him. Surely they're not going that well that they can afford to leave Sam De Koning out. Like, for that aerial threat that Brisbane boast, Daniher, as you said, who was outstanding last week, plus Eric Hipwood, he has to come in, surely.
Yeah, well, that's the debate we have. And we sat here 2 weeks ago and thought about what happened with Port Adelaide. They've got 2 big talls down there, Radaglia and Dixon, in that game. Neither of them really had any impact. Mark Blicavs was all over Dixon. Mark Blicavs can play on Joe Daniher. So does that leave Jack Henry as the backup and the foil option on Eric Hipwood? I think they'd be comfortable with that.
Jack Henry is in exceptional form as well. Like, as good a form as it is since I think he was second. Second to the best and fairest in the premiership year. And so all of a sudden the footy shoes are alleviated. The only thing I would say is if you're Chris Scott, you don't sleep very well because you think about the disasters that can happen. And you think, OK, what happens if all of a sudden Reece Stanley has a stinker or goes down or one of those key positions? So if you're going to think about, OK, Jed Buse or Mitch Duncan, wouldn't you be thinking, could I play Sam De Koning as the sub, or would I play him as my 22nd man? I just think you can still win with an extra tall, whereas if one of those 2 key pillars goes down, you're probably really, really in strife from a positional point of view.
Can we have a look at the Cats qualifying final team and then just tell us, Barnesy, how do you think this works? Who would go out? Because we know Stewart's already coming in.
Yeah, so Stewart will come back in. They'll have match committee later this week, so they're still debating this. But I think Oisin Mullen, despite playing probably his best game of his career against Port Adelaide, he probably drops out for Tom Stewart.
Yep.
And then you've got the veterans there, Mitch Duncan. He wants to play on next year. Will he get dropped out before a grand final and preliminary final? Zach Tu was the sub against Port Adelaide. Is he the one that drops out for Sam De Koning? That's what you've got to be questioning, because I think they need Jed Buse to play on Charlie Cameron.
And we all love the Zach Tuohy story, but again, I just think on a preliminary final day and you're thinking, OK, is it Zach Tuohy or is it the versatility of a Sam De Koning? I know who I'd be choosing.
Chris Scott would be wrapped with how they've timed the high performance. He says that Geelong, they win flags and they get it right in September, and the injury management, you'd have to say, has gone really well.
Furnace burns hot in finals, that's for sure.
Burns hot or burns stupidly?
We play some real or overreaction.
God, what a night. Was that all on TV last night?
Yeah. Zach Merritt should have shut this down by now.
Overreaction. I've got to... hear me out on this, mate. Hear me out on this. We're just about to enter the season where names will get thrown up everywhere. How about every player who gets mentioned as a possible trade target, you've got to put out a statement the next day to shut it down? That's absolute rubbish. Maybe we get the stories right before both clubs deny. And this example is Tommy's with Essendon and Kilda. There might have been an inch in it, but it was turned into a mile and a half and the club shut it down. Zach Merritt doesn't have to respond to that. What's tomorrow? They're going after him. Well, shut it down. We'll be having statements going out everywhere if that happens, sure. That is massive overreaction. Is that your question?
I just put them up.
My God. Jared. Dusty on low coin is worth the risk.
Yes, this is real. Yes.
Yes.
If the risk is low, then the rewards... I'm totally torn on whether they should do this or not. And to be totally honest, you'd have to sit down with him to have an accurate judgment on it as to whether he truly wants to come back and play footy and chase more success. Or, so I think Ralphie had that line, or is he just bored? So you'd have to sit with him, and he is the man of mystery, and we've never professed to be able to know. But from Gold Coast point of view, if the risk is really low, then I think I would do it if I sat down and was convinced about it.
We're all in real trouble, Jared, if he's got about $12 million in the bank and he's bored. My God.
Jack Darling is a shrewd addition for the Roos.
Yeah, I think that's real. I don't know, but my gut feel is that it's real. We all know that the Kangaroos need some experience. We know that. And I was talking to Jezza before the show. I was going to write a column that I reckon the Kangaroos should have gone after Jeremy Howe and offered him a 2-year deal. I remember when Jared Waite left Carlton and went to North Melbourne, he had some superb football. He was a bloody great footballer, Jared Waite. Now, he's a bit older than that, but he can play forward, he can play back, very experienced, a really good guy. He would have been good. They haven't gone that. They've gone for Jack Darling, and I think he will help them. He can't mark the ball very well, Jared, but he will help. Jack Macrae is an asset for the Saints.
Yeah, I'm a real here. So I presume Brad Crouch is finishing up. That's the way that it looks today. He's had the degenerative knee injury, hasn't been able to get out there. He looks like a nice like-for-like replacement. St Kilda wants speed in the middle, but you've got to have the blokes who can accumulate the ball, and Jack's got a great pedigree on that front. So I'm in the yes camp on this. I'm in the yes camp. Coaches now tread a fine line with conduct unbecoming.
No, we know that. Real. Just replay. Cue last night's discussion.
Don't look at anyone in the wrong way.
No, well, what is conduct unbecoming now? God, the next person who uses a homophobic slur, you're looking at 12, 18 weeks. Violence is going to be well and truly. We don't see a lot of violence. Now, I'm trying to understand why everyone thinks me and you are idiots for giving Ken Hinkley a bit of a pass mark on this.
No, it's unedifying.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. We haven't said, oh, good on you, Kenny. It wasn't real classy, but let's not hang the bloke. But I'm trying to work out why have we got it wrong by saying that. I still haven't come to that conclusion, Jared. I think we're right. And I think everyone who thinks we're wrong is wrong.
I'm happy in my stance.
Jared, the Giants Crows on Saturday... Crowd was alarming.
No, that's an overreaction. It's just a reality. The Giants are a great team and they have built a really good club, but they are struggling to make a footprint in Sydney. The town is mad for the Swans. I've been there 2 weeks in a row. They are mad for the Swans. This is the Giants' lot for the time being, and I don't know whether it will change over a generation, but this is just the reality. They draw big crowds when they play Sydney and Collingwood. The Dogs finals, it was less than would have been ideal, but that's just the reality.